Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Board with Each Other Bite Size, the spin off podcast from the main Board with Each Other podcast, where we look at shorter, lighter,
More sparkly.
more sparkly games and expansions to larger board games. These are meant to be short, sharp reviews. We don't go into our usual full-on deep dive scoring criteria, but just to sort of give you a flavour and a taste of these games so we can get some more content out for you. If you like what you hear, obviously you have our main monthly podcast, which does a deep dive on a board game per month and gives it the full review. I'm joined as ever by my player two, my lovely wife, and my co-host, Hannah Kinnick.
Hi, guys.
And today we are reviewing Cryptozoology for Beginners, because everybody's got to start somewhere, right? Or to give it its full title, The Natural World, Cryptozoology for Beginners, the game. This is essentially a play and pass Sushi Go like with a lot of extra bells and whistles on it. So if you ever play something like Sushi Go, the concept is you get a hand of cards, you play a card from that hand, and then you pass your hand to the person to the left. You can
Right.
all the
Depending
rights.
which political leaning you may favour.
I mean, I don't know if it's politically related, but maybe we should fence that just to
I'll
add
rule it.
some more
To make
tension
it
to
very
the game. Like
confusing.
you're just passing it back and forth.
That is the game.
Yes, it is the game. Yeah, we're playing with two. Anyway, we digress. So you play and pass to your hand's played, and then usually in these type of games you just sort of score what you've put out. This is a little bit different. So at the start of each round, of which
There are three.
yes, of which there are three, you are dealt two assignment cards. One of those cards you put in your play area, the other one you put in a public play area, and they all have specific requirements. So, for example, collect 3 Loch Nesses and 2 Chupacabra. When you complete an objective, either from your play area, or the public play area, you take it and you basically score it for the end of the game. And they vary in difficulties and they vary in points costs. So that's one side of sort of a different
And
fence.
sometimes your scoring allows you to take a secret hidden token from a main pool and you keep that hidden. So it's not always possible to know how other people have scored.
Yeah, there's a whole stack of sort of scoring chits that range, I think, from between 3, it might even be 2 and 6 points, and those are sort of randomly distributed, and you don't know until you pick them up. The other way this differs is after you have basically drafted a hand, you then play that hand taking turns. So you put cards down in front of you, and these cards then have effects if you stick them up. So, for example, if you have 2 Loch Nesses, you can draw more cards from the deck to continue playing that round. You have things like Chupacabra, which allow you to discard a card from either your area or your opponents, and then they draw a new one. You have set collection ones like the Mothman, where if you have the most of them, you get scoring chits at the end of the round. And you also have special cards that have special actions. So, for example, there's one that you can basically steal a card from your opponent's play area. So there's quite a lot going on in comparison to your sort of run-of-the-mill play and pass kind of game. And yeah, I mean, we picked this up because I just love the off the wallness of it all. It's got that sort of zany, stupid edge that I just love in things. Its art style is basically sort of magic school bussy, like 1970s after school special.
What's also really cool, guys, is it comes with a 3D school bus.
Yes,
Because what I like to think is back in the 80s, when there were no rules, we used to take our children
on Cryptozoology.
on trips to the woods somewhere where you would encounter a Bigfoot and a Chupacabra and a Loch Ness monster all in the same little village.
Yes, it's a class trip to ask questions.
Your parents signed the waiver.
Yes, I have no idea why this involves taking a bunch of kids on a cryptozoology
Because
hunt.
it's for beginners. Obviously, it was for
Yeah,
advanced. You take university students.
Start them young. Yeah, get them finding out Cobra.
But yeah, so you've got a little mini 3D school bus, and that's your first player token.
Yeah, but the art style is delightful. I love it. I just it's got that proper sort of after school special like cartoon feel to it, and it's just fun. It's really fun. And that's what sort of leapt out to me about it without even knowing what the game was like. Your first thoughts?
So my first thoughts as we played when we were too drunk and I didn't have the mental capacity to keep up with it. I thought it was going to be really easy and straightforward, but it requires an awful lot of memory and actually a little strategic planning that I wasn't quite prepared for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think straight off the bat, there's a lot of things in this that sort of build on Sushi Go and kind of make it that much more fun.
Yeah, no, I think all of the extra bells and whistles on it,
Mm.
what is essentially, as we said, sushi go. I think they work. I
Yeah.
think they really work. And I think the idea of sort of drafting a hand of cards
Hmm.
and then going through the typical sort of card game, playing off each other kind of
Hmm.
thing, I really enjoy. I think it's really, really good fun. And
Yeah.
there's a surprising amount of strategic depth to it.
Well, I think that comes from having the private and the public assignments because
Yeah.
you can everything's still
Mm.
faced. It's played
It's
up, so you
all
can still
open. Yeah.
see what's in your opponent's private scoring area. And
I thought you were just going to say private area there.
yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah.
Um, but that I think allows you to then think, well, I'm just going to be a dick and play this because I'll
I,
take this because I know
yeah.
that he needs
Yeah.
it. And there's always also that race to be able to get those public scoring
Yeah.
cards as well.
Or chucking the ones like, oh, that's nigh on impossible into the public scoring
Yeah.
area, but then you get screwed up because your opponent actually manages to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just little things about the order that you play your cards as
Yeah.
well when you actually play them, because there are cards that can either like delete or in one case nick your opponent's cards, and you need to be careful that they're not going to play that and do that when you
Yeah.
possibly need, they can see you heading for a set. So if you're paying attention and applying your brain to it, there's a lot going on here.
Mhm.
But surprising for what it is. The play is nice and quick and snappy,
Yeah.
but it is quite brain burny,
Yeah.
which again took me by surprise. I was expecting sort of complete dumb fun, and it's a bit more
It's a
than
bit
that.
more than that.
Yeah,
And it's the kind of game that you keep wanting to go back to as well, I find.
yeah, it's quite Moorish.
Yeah, yeah.
This
It's good the 80s.
this Cryptozoology is quite Moorish. Uh, yeah, and again it fits the bill for that. Either start of the night, get the brain flowing, or something that's finished off with. Like
Mhm.
it fits quite neatly in that.
In terms of it being, sort of quite solid as a two-player game, yeah, absolutely. I think,
I think it works for two players a lot better than most of these games because of that strategic element. And I'd actually go so far to say that playing it at two makes it a little bit more strategic,
yeah.
because trying to keep track of 3+ in
Hmm.
this, I think, yeah, sure you could do it if you were a smarter person than I am, but I think it would make it all a little bit more
More
random.
random.
Whereas the I'm going to mess with you quotient in the two-player
Yeah.
configuration actually works quite well, and you do have those gotcha moments, and you do have those moments where you're intentionally messing with your opponent quite effectively.
Yeah.
So I rate it too much more than a
I
lot of
think I
these
would.
type of
Yeah, yeah.
games. Like I think the extra bells and whistles really make it work, and even possibly sing as a two-player game.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add on it?
So I think the other thing to mention is that it is a really light, easy game, and it's really, really quick to pick up. You could teach people in about 5 minutes. Most of
Oh
the
yeah,
detail is on the cards,
yeah.
and again, that makes it a really lovely play experience for everyone. And I don't think it matters if you've played quite a few hands, somebody
No,
else hasn't. I
no. I
think,
think people can get up on
yeah,
the same play field quite easy, same level quite easily.
yeah.
One of the mechanics that I really like about it is the tomes. So one of the card types is a tome on cryptozoology, because of course it is. But basically, the mechanic is if you end up with only one, you get a scoring chit. And I find it one of the more fun strategic parts of it, because when you start and you've got one in your hand, there's always the temptation to just grab it because there's only one in that hand, and there's only been one. uh, you pretty almost guaranteed that you're going to get that scoring chit at the end. But then if you get a couple of hands with loads of, not loads, well, loads is a bit of a moot point, but you get like three, it then becomes a little bit of a sort of standoff about who's going to take the one and try and keep the one, and are you not taking cards you really need just to try and avoid taking it. I find it a really interesting mechanic.
Hmm.
I think it's quite brain burny in that sense, that
Yeah.
and there's a little bit of almost bluffing with the passing,
Yeah.
like, oh no, I don't want that.
You also get those, and you mentioned them before, like those random one-off cards that all have a special function. And again, they can be
Yeah,
really powerful and really change the way the course of that game goes. But it's about having the, I guess, confidence to know what's in the deck and what's
yeah,
in
and
other people's hands to ensure that it's going to work.
absolutely,
And I'm
yeah,
always last to play it because I'm not quite
yeah. I'm
sure
not sure what's
exactly
going to
what
work,
to do.
and it's also you're taking them as a sacrifice. They very rarely go towards the assignments, for example, and you take one of them, you also potentially sacrificing something you really need.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the card effects only take effect if you have sort of enough
Yeah,
multiples of
three or
them, like
four.
two or three, usually. And yeah, you can be quite loath to sort of give up a space or a slot for something that's actually going to have an effect that you know is going to work.
Hmm.
I take one of them, but sometimes the risk pays off.
Yeah.
You take it, it's wins you the round. So yeah, it's yeah, it's just a really fun, zany experience with just enough strategic depth to keep me coming back for more and more. Really,
Yeah. I mean, what does it retail for?
about £15 ish, which is fairly standard for a small box game like this.
Yeah, and I also think that's also exceptional value because you've got your 3D pop-up model, you've got your little tokens.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's really, really good and a really good price point
yeah,
for a game that I think actually can last you a really long time.
yeah. No, I
Loads of
think it's
replayability
I
out.
think it's great. Like I unreservedly say picking up. We see
Yeah.
it, you know. I think we were lucky enough to get this in the Games Gone Insane sale of 2024. Um,
Most of which was shit.
yeah, but
This wasn't.
this was a gem in amongst the diamond in the rough. But yeah, I would give this a very solid +7.
Yeah, I was going to go with a 7 as well, maybe possibly pushing on an 8,
Yeah, I
because
don't
I
think it
think,
quite gets to an 8 for me, but it's definitely a 7. It's a very good game.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on another quick, snappy episode of Bite Size. We hope to see you soon for our deep dive content. And until next time, have fun, be good to each other, and play lots of board games.